Hey, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius. Today's the 27th of April, 2023. So, yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. So, look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear here from that little corner in there, and then, yeah, we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. Yep, and yeah, guys, so let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, as always. It is the case, so yeah. Nikkei did, yeah, eventually break the lower side of this rising wedge pattern, which, yeah, according to all the TA rules, tends to break to the downside. So far, it's working out. But yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a retracement here and a push back above the 28,393 territory. Well, ideally, my scenario was from around here, from around this 28,393, because that's the inside swing low here of the 8th of March. And yes, also acted as a good area of resistance. So look, in general, initially everything was working out nicely. Now, I would say I think we'll have to jump back, to the drawing board because in general, look, I'm still gonna keep an eye on it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna keep an eye on this this hurdle here. If we do fall again below it, okay, great. So look, I will consider a move lower towards that 50-day EMA, and then we will take it from there. But at this point, I'm just gonna leave it. To be honest, it's not really working as I would like it to work. So sometimes you get these. So yeah, unfortunately. At this point, probably I'm going to leave it. And look, I'm going to keep an eye on this highlighted zone right here, the area between the 28,733 and the 793 levels. If we get a clearance of that one, then yes, this may attract more buyers because a forthcoming higher high would be confirmed. So look, like I said, these things happen. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not working out. There are some other instruments that are working out very nicely. I will get to those in a bit, but this one, okay. Look, sometimes it happens. So, if you do like to trade Nikkei, then, yeah, it has a bit of a mind of its own sometimes. But again, look, so far, I think that it's partially doing stuff what I want it to do. Like, for example, breaking the lower side of the rising wedge, but then actually not staying below the hurdle. So yeah, you know what? Like I said, we'll just leave it for now. I'll still keep an eye on this hurdle just in case this, let's say, this index decides to reverse back to the downside. If, let's say, Europe or US pulls it lower, and then yeah, I may drag this Nikkei to the downside. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that one. ASX 200. So yeah, this one's so far working out. Look, yesterday I talked about this, and yesterday we kind of came back above the lower side of the range that I mentioned and above the 7,327 territory right here. We were sitting when I was talking about this one in my morning video. We were sitting above this hurdle, and I said that if we fall again below this, then well, start examining maybe the downside. And I did start examining the downside because look, it had a beautiful move lower. We tested one of my targets here, that's 7,293. Beautiful support here, rebounded a little bit, retested that 7,327, failed to stay above it, and then drifted back to the downside. Look, so far, if this is going to continue like this, If we get, if I see again another drop below the 7,293 territory, I will aim for the 50-day EMA. And then we will kind of take it from there, guys. At this point, right now, the 7,293 is somehow providing very good support. Let's see if we can break that again, and if we can, then yes, like I said, my next target is the 50-day EMA. India's 50, so Nifty 50. Look, we rebounded from the area here, and I talked about this, and I said that if this highlighted zone continues to provide resistance, then well, another decline here could be possible. However, if we break it, this may attract a few more buyers into the game. And look, so far, I think that's so good. I think that we're on track to forming, you know, a higher high. But again, let's not rush into anything. Let's wait and see. I think that I can reuse one of these lines here and put it this way here. Yes, this barrier of the 17,935 becomes quite an important one to watch. If we clear that one as well, then yes, more buyers could join in. So just kind of keep an eye on that one. So let's jump into the Nasdaq. Okay, guys, today is quite an interesting day. Could be, I would say, could be an interesting day because look, we do have the U.S. preliminary GDP numbers coming out later on today. The expectation is for a decline from 2.6 to 2.2. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the GDP Q on Q for Q1. Of course, how it's going to show up, we'll see. We do also have the initial jobless claims today, so just kind of keep that in mind. And continuous jobless claims, of course, and pending home sales later on. So a few data sets, yep, are good to be watched. I think that they might maybe move the dollar and maybe gold as well. So, you know, just kind of keep in mind. Check out the economic calendar, at what time it comes out where you are based. So just so that, let's say, if you're trading one of the let's say possibly affected instruments, then you know you need to kind of be very careful, because during that time we might see a bit of an increase in volatility. Now, coming back to Nasdaq. Okay, look, we are still in this earnings season, and yesterday I think we had yesterday was Wednesday. Yesterday we had Meta. Meta performed, showed very good results. Boeing disappointed, and then we have a bunch of other companies. Waste Management. They all performed quite well. They're all good. In general, but we're still seeing some negativity. That is, of course, because there are some fears about the banking sector, and although these companies are showing good results, I think that now somehow the focus will fall on the banking sector in general. So when the banking companies will be delivering results, and I think that's going to be a bit more watched. But again, only an idea. Let's see how that's going to play out, of course. But look, yesterday we did had some great performance in Microsoft. Although Microsoft delivered results on Tuesday, yesterday Microsoft stock exploded to the upside, and I think it managed to kind of keep Nasdaq afloat from falling off the cliff here too much. Because again, I'll jump into the Dow. Dow did not show very good results yesterday. Dow was the biggest loser from the top three. Nasdaq at least managed to gain. And look at this from the technical perspective. This is what I talked about previously. I said to you that if we do drop and stay below this 12,950 territory, I will get more comfortable with the downside with further declines, and then yes, more sellers could join in. In general, one of my targets got reached, the 50-day EMA. But then we rebounded strongly and pushed back above this lower side of the potential range, or actually not even a range. Let's just keep it as a barrier. Actually, the 12,950. Oh, and by the way, yesterday, I know that some of you were commenting but somehow the comments were not going through. So I hope you can hear me and see me well, guys, because again, something is lagging here a little bit. I think that the comments are like struggling to come through, because candles yep, the user candles, I mean, I saw your comments only after the video was finished, so you know, that's a little bit of a tricky one. For some reason something is not coming through, because I saw that you were commenting on I believe it was Nasdaq as well. So but yeah, look, I hope, yeah, right now everything's okay, you know, because just I'm gonna give it a quick test to everybody here. I mean, I can see that, yeah, my comment is showing up, but hey, anyway, hopefully everything's okay, honestly. Like, I mean, if your comments are not shown, like, I mean, if I'm not responding to your comments, guys, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring. I just maybe not, I'm not seeing them on my, you know, on the live chat for some reason. But again, we'll see how this is going to play out. Look, in general, coming back to the Nasdaq issue, and the reason why I'm calling it an issue, because again, it seems like the bulls are fighting back really strongly, but they still don't have enough power to push it through, let's say, this downside line. And once I get that, then I'll get a little bit more excited with the upside. So basically something around these lines here. So if we do push above this downside line, great, I'll go a little bit more to the upside. Today we do have on the earnings calendar, who do we have? Amazon and MasterCard. Yep, Eli Lilly, Merck, AbbVie, AstraZeneca. Yep, guys, Comcast, Bristol Myers Squibb, Honeywell. Okay, look, there are a bunch of good companies reporting. This is going to be quite interesting to see. But of course, it seems like the tendency here this week is that even if they report good, it doesn't. I think it doesn't matter, because it seems like that still the market is worried about something else, and yeah, it's still they are worried about the whole kind of banking issue, and I think that first FRC, yeah, FRC Bank. So FRC, this First Republic Bank, I mean, that one is just on a free fall. And to be honest, something kind of looks like Wirecard, but you know, but again, we'll see how that's going to play out, of course. But anyway, look, Dow Jones Industrial Average, perfect hit, perfect test. I talked about this upside support line taken from the low of the 15th of March. And yeah, I talked about this yesterday. So in general, this week, and we managed to hit it. Great, wonderful. Now the question is, what's next? Well, first of all, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove all the drawings, because it's getting a little bit overcrowded, and that's why, I mean, I'm going to bring back some of the lines, of course, but just I rather start fresh. And I think that sometimes it's good to do that, just to kind of clear it up a little bit, and it also, I think, clears up your head. So yep, guys, at the moment you can see that we're having a wonderful hold up near this upside line, near the EMAs, the 50 and the 100. Can we see a rebound? Well, as long as the upside line continues to provide support, then yes, the upside scenario is still not off the table. However, ideally, I would like to see maybe a push above this little barrier here, somewhere above this area, between the 34,270 and 80 levels, approximately around there, guys. And if we do clear that, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with the upside. Then we could start aiming for this one right here. This level right there, the highest point of December of 2022, and not the all-time high, of course, but nevertheless still a good target. But again, for that, we need to see a nice good reversal here from this upside line, you know, a push back up here, a clearance of some of these levels. And if let's say from the shorter term perspective, if you're trying to capture something in this area right there, I would say keep your eyes on some of these levels, like for example the 33,800. If we do push above it, maybe this could attract a few more buyers into the game, and we could see a push towards the current highest point of April. In terms of the downside, now this one's a little bit, I'm going to take a bit of a more conservative approach on this one because, look, if we do fall below this, let's say yesterday's low near the 33,347, yes, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low. Yes, we'll have a beautiful break of the this upside line. Will drop below the 100-day EMA, and all this kind of could open or clear up the path here towards this 200-day EMA, or even maybe this inside swing high of the 22nd of March here near the 32,995. In general, the 33,000 mark is the good one to watch. But again, some clearance is needed. And yes, the clearance that I'm talking about here is a break of this upside line, a drop below the 33,347, and a drop below the 100-day EMA here as well. So yeah, long story short, that's the situation. Yeah, let's wait and see. German index, DAX, we fell below this hurdle. Finally, we're doing something a little bit extraordinary because, again, this has been on the boring side a little bit. Unless you're a range trader, then yes, congratulations. You know, this was something for you. But look, I mean, we did drop below that 15,891. We're testing it from underneath. In general, there is still hope that, you know, the bulls could pick up on this one and you know, push it back up. But I think that for me at this point, I would rather stick to a break above this 16,063 territory right here, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 15,700 level, and then I'll take it from there, because until then, I'm not really doing anything here. And yes, it's like I said, it's just on a little bit on the boring side for me. But yeah, like I said, guys, I really hope, like I said, if you're, you know, you're all okay, because again, I hope, you know, you can hear me and see me well, because like I said yesterday, I think the comments section was not really working properly, and yeah, I was missing some of your comments, so you know, apologies for that. Right, guys, like jumping into the USX to USD here, which is DXY. And look, in this case here, we are, as I mentioned in the beginning of this week, I said that, look, because of, you know, the news and the earnings and everything, I think that we could see a bit of a roller coaster ride, and this is what I mentioned in the beginning of this week. And so far, yes, it is a roller coaster ride, because one day we're up, one day we're down, but you know, it's on the dollar especially. And I think I will stick to my idea that I think that the determination of the trend, the final kind of trend, how we're going to close this week, I think will be on, obviously, on Friday, after the PCE number comes out. So, you know, just keep that in mind. But at this point right now, yes, if you are enjoying this ride, congratulations, guys. Well done. If you managed to squeeze something out of it, well done. Fantastic. So for now, look, I talked about some of these levels here, and I said that if we do drop below that 101 territory, then yes, more sellers could join in. And so far, yeah, look, we did yesterday fall below that hurdle, but we failed to stay below it. So in a way, I'm still kind of stuck here. We're still stuck here, so I'm not really doing much. I'm just observing the price action. But if we once again fall below that 100 zone, 101 zone, then yes, I will get a little bit more excited with the downside, especially if the body of the daily candle stays here below it. For the upside, I need to see a push above the 102 territory in order to go higher. Gold, okay. Honestly, talk about a roller coaster ride. I mean, this is just insane. And why I'm saying what I mean is by that is that every day it seems like we're getting that, like a retest of that lower side of the rising channel, and it's really choppy. And you know, one hour we're up, the other hour we're down, and then you know, every hour it changes. So look, in general, I think at this point, if you do have a wide stop loss, okay, very good for you guys. I think that you are winning. Because if you have a tight stop loss, I think this is where, you know, the frustration is kicking in, and a lot of people are kind of losing on that, because again, it's because it's very, very choppy. It's a little bit unclear what it wants to do. On one hand, it's, you know, it's giving us an indication that, hey, let's retest the lower side of the rising channel, and of course, with every retest of this lower side of the rising channel, we kind of get this idea that maybe, you know, we're going to get a nice breakout finally. But no, it just kind of gives us a tease, tests again the lower side of the rising channel, and pushes back above that 1990 territory, the one that I kept on talking about, and we stay below it, and we're then testing that psychological 2000 mark, and then we stay below it. Sorry, we in the 90s we stay above it, and then in the 2000s we stay below it. So we're kind of stuck in that $10 range. Okay, look, maybe it's not, you know, ideal, but at the same time, it's let's see what Friday brings, and of course, I'm interested to see what's gonna happen today after the preliminary GDP numbers, US GDP numbers. So, are we gonna get a nice pop here, or actually are we gonna drift back down again and test the lower side of the rising channel? Will that be the case? Well, let's wait and see, guys. But in general, what I'm trying to stick to here is that, look, for now, the 2003 territory is providing good resistance. If we do clear that, my next target is the 2015 zone, and then we will take it from there. So if we do push then further above that 2015 zone, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with the with further upside. So let's keep an eye on that one, guys. But for the downside, as I said, yeah, previously, I need to see a breakout of that lower side of the rising channel, and then we'll take it from there, guys. So now then, let me just double check here. Yes, okay, it seems to be working fine. Look, now then, jumping into silver. Silver is also boring. Sorry, not well. Okay, boring and not. How's that possible? Well, for some it's boring, for some it's not. So that's how it's possible. Because we're still stuck below this downside line. And okay, somebody might say maybe we're forming a nice descending triangle. Yes, could be the case. But until we get a nice clear breakout here below the lower side of that potential triangle pattern, it's a no man's game here. It's just a, you know, it's just some movement, random walk here, and, you know, not without any clear direction. But once we start breaking one of the sides here, now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting. So for example, if we break the downside line, yes, we will start considering some higher levels, but I need to kind of mention that keep your eyes on this territory and that kind of area, kind of below that 25.50 territory. If you know, if we get a hold up somewhere around there and then we drift back down, well, basically then we have nothing more than just a range, which yeah, could be annoying us for some time. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind, guys, because if we break the downside line, okay, great, but if we struggle with that 25.50 territory, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a another you know, choppy period. Oil, there we go. Oil, okay, beautiful. Honestly, this is probably the voice of my smugness, you know, kicking in. And look, I talked about this one. Fantastic. I mean, this is just amazing. I talked about this 79 territory, and I said that if it holds, we could see another drift lower, and especially if we fall below the remaining EMAs, the 100 and the 50-day EMA, and also if we do fall below that 76.74 territory, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially could lead to a test of the upside support line right here, which we managed to test and break. Now, would that mean that it's now, let's say, something like this? Yes, of course. If this upside line continues to provide resistance, upside line, because we broke it. I mean, so if we do retest it from underneath and it continues to provide resistance, then yes, a further decline could be possible. And look, in general, if you remember, I talked about this and I said that I am quite bearish on oil for now. And yeah, it's really so far it's nicely working out. Let me just have a sip of tea Sorry, my voice is going down a little bit, I think. But yeah, look, so far so good. We broke the upside line, so now my next target is the 72.25 territory, approximately around here. Not exactly the level, the specific level, but the area around it. And if we do reach this, great, wonderful. I'll start examining lower levels again. But look, for now, let's keep it simple, keep it short and simple. But yeah, I'm wondering what's going to happen here right now. If we somehow push back above this upside line and stay above it, well, we'll have ourselves a beautiful false breakout on the weekly chart. And yeah, then we'll have to think maybe we'll actually start considering some higher levels. But at this point, yep, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside. So let's see how this is gonna play out. Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Okay, look. Again, this one's a little bit tricky, and I talked about this, and I said to you, look, maybe we're forming something of a head and shoulders pattern or something like that here. So again, don't rush into anything for now. Let's maybe consider something like this. So I talked about this 29,000 territory, somewhere around here. And I said that if it somehow continues to provide resistance, maybe another like push lower here could be possible. I think that I need to redraw a few things here, because I think that this is the way to watch this one, because again, as I said, this might be a potential head and shoulders pattern with the kind of with a neckline which is slightly on an incline here, right? But again, this is me trying to foresee the future here, but unfortunately I don't have the crystal ball. So whatever's gonna do it here, I really don't know, but nobody knows. But the one thing for sure that we can try to at least uh, position ourselves correctly and to examine all the possible scenarios so that we would be prepared. Now, look, for the upside, I would say that I think that we need to stick to that psychological 30,000 mark. I think that's the best case scenario. So the 30,000 mark could be a nice good one to watch, because yesterday we did test it from underneath. It did provide resistance, and we drifted back to the downside. So look, for now we're flirting with that 29,000 mark. If it continues to provide resistance, then yes, another decline here could be possible. Bitcoin Cash. Beautiful test of this upside support line. I've mentioned this before, and also yesterday I've redrawn this a little bit, in order to capture more tests here. And in a way, I think that it did test this beautifully. So yeah, look, you can draw it this way, you can draw it that way. I think that both our scenarios are okay. Let me just put the other one very quickly. I think that both of these lines are fine. Just you need to kind of keep in mind that that both of them are maybe slightly on the tentative side. So let me just adjust this very quickly. There we go. Let me just make it thinner. There we go. So if you're looking for some lower levels, guys, then certainly a break of both of these lines, both of these trend lines would be needed. If you're looking for some upside, then obviously these two lines are currently helping you out, because we're still above the upside lines here, and in a way, as long as they remain intact and we don't stay below them, the trend is still to the upside. So that's why we could see more some higher levels. But at this point, I think that the easier option is to keep an eye on some of the levels. For example, the 120 zone could be a nice good target here. If we do push above it, then I'll aim for the 100, the 50-day EMAs, and then maybe for the 200-day EMA. For now, look, for now I am keeping it cool, keeping it cool and awesome here, and I'm waiting for my confirmation break. Until then, I'm not really doing anything here. I do put somewhere deep inside me, of course, yes, I would like to see this one pushing back up, but at the moment, I'm not getting any confirmation. For me to start, getting more excited with the upside slowly, is to see a push up of that 120 territory, then a push up of the EMAs here, and so on and so on. But until then, yeah, I'm not really doing much. Dogecoin, Elon coin. So yeah, look, we are having this nice little hold up right now below the EMAs, and I think that will stick to that as long as we stay below all the EMAs here on my daily chart, and maybe also below that 0.08 territory. Yes, I will continue targeting the downside. Once we start pushing back up here, I think this upside line has to go, or in general, I think we can actually reuse it. We can break the downside line here. If we do break it, then yes, great. More buyers could join in, and we could potentially drag this one a little bit higher again. But at this point, I am just observing the price action, guys, and not really doing much. And I'm actually kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside, but you know, anything can happen here. Any tweet can happen here, and you know, this goes, you know, off the charts and just kind of rockets nicely to the upside. So yeah, just like those rockets that you leave me, guys, there on the video. Thank you very much for those. AUDUSD, guys, AUDUSD. So jumping into a few pairs now. Look, I talked about this as well. I said to you that keep your eyes on this little hurdle, the 0.6625. If we do clear that and stay below it, I'll go lower. And so far, it's kind of working out. I mean, not ideally, but still working out. So still sitting below the 0.6625 somewhat. Actually, no, we're just kind of right now just pushing a little bit above it. Okay, look, we're not far from there. If we do drop back below this hurdle, I will continue targeting that 0.6564 territory right here. And then we will go from there. If we clear that one, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, potentially inviting more sellers into the game. For the upside, I need to see at least a push back above this little territory right here. But I think that even better would be to wait for a push above this downside line, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. AUDJPY, beautiful rebound from this downside line. And okay, by beautiful I mean it's okay. It's okay because look, we broke it, we dropped and stayed below it, and now we're pushing back up. And I think that this downside line, yeah, it's not really working. I think it's gonna be the one that we're gonna remove. Look, I think that what we need here is some more clarity, because this is not really working out well. So I think that this level should go away. It's not really working nicely. I think that if you're now looking for some lower levels, I think the easier option is just to go from the lower lows and higher highs. And so, for example, here in this case, 87 point level here would be a nice one to watch. So if we do drop below it, this may attract a few more sellers into the game. We could start aiming for some of these levels. I think that this can be readjusted. There we go. So yeah, something maybe in the lines of that. For the upside, I would like to see maybe I'm going to take a bit of a conservative approach on this one, and I'm going to wait for a push above the 89.42 territory right here, and then we will take it from there. So long story short, for now, I'm going to keep an eye on this barrier here, the 89.42. For the upside, for the downside, and for the upside in the short run, I have to say that, because again, don't forget that overall we're still below this downside line. So, you know, as long as the trend line remains intact, it could dictate the trend. Now then, NZDJPY, guys, very quickly on that one. This one, honestly, I mean, I like it and I hate it at the same time. It's, on one hand, it's doing what I want it to do. On the other hand, it's just kind of, you know, not following through for, let's say, for in the same direction for at least a couple of days or something like that. So I mean, basically what I wanted this one to see here is that I wanted to see a drop below the 82.14. I got that. It's a breakout of the lower side of the range, and it seemed like we are, you know, on the right track. We're going nicely lower. But then the next day we have an upside move, and we were pushing back inside the range. So now it's I would say, look, if we stay above this 82.14 level, somewhere around here, then yeah, maybe we could consider a move back to the 50, the 100, maybe to 200 EMA. But of course, initially I'll aim only for the 50, and then I'll take it from there. But if we stay below the 82.14 level here, if we stay below this, then the downside scenario could kick in again. But look, at this point, I think I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to observe, this price action, and I'll see where do we stay in relation to the lower side of this previous range on this pair. Where do we stay here by the end of the week? So, like I said, right now it's I mean, I can start drawing here something else, like maybe even a falling wedge of my favorite ones. So maybe something like, like this, but it's not really picture perfect. On the other hand, maybe some of you might say, but hey, maybe this is a nice bullish flag. Well, it could be the case as well, but I think that right now, I mean, this could be maybe classed as a little pole. Maybe it's better seen on the weekly. Let's have a look. Yeah, on the weekly chart, it looks a little bit more better. A little bit better. It looks more like a possible bullish flag here. So okay, okay. And even then, even so, I think that I will come back to my idea of upside scenario. So that's why I have my upside scenario from around here. Well, the main one. From around that 83.77, 82 territory. So if we clear that one, then yeah, this may attract a few more buyers into the game. But if we, for now, let's say from the short-term perspective, if we stay above this 82.14 territory, I will get a little bit more maybe excited with slightly higher levels. But again, I'm just gonna keep in mind all the time that a sharp reversal could happen easily if, let's say, the stock market goes down the drain, because then the yen buying could resume, and then we could see this pair falling off the cliff here and moving nicely to the downside. So just kind of keep that in mind. Keep your eyes on the stock market as well. And yeah, let's see if the stock market, if this is an indication that the stock market can recover a little bit to the upside. So let's see if this pair is actually indicating towards that. USD CAD. Okay, look, still a hold up near this area, and this is what I talked about yesterday. I said that, look, if you've missed this whole move here to the upside, leave it. Honestly, leave it. We'll wait for a clearance of the of this downside line, and then yes, we will get comfortable with further upside then. Then we'll start aiming maybe for this target, the 1.3805, something like that. The 1.3750 could also be a nice good area of resistance. So somewhere around here. But yeah, look, for all that, we still need to see a break of this downside line. For the downside, yeah, I'm not really getting excited with the downside, although this little formation right here is kind of pushing me towards some downside. This little formation here, I mean, it tends to be sometimes a nice little reversal signal. But again, look, if you want to play that game, then you'll have to have a tight stop loss, because this could easily reverse against you, and could trend continue if, let's say, you're trying to capture some downside on this one. But you have to have a tight stop loss. But then you have to accept the fact that if we are in the choppy market right now, then your stop loss could be triggered very quickly, and we could see you could, let's say, it might cause you frustration and kind of make your head not cool but warm. And yeah, that would not really go well with your trading, guys. So for now, that's why for now, okay, I'm gonna maybe lean a little bit to the downside if we do fall below this 1.3617 territory. And we stay below it, then, but I'm gonna aim maybe for something maybe around 35, 1.3570, something like that, or maybe 80, around those lines. But again, it's a tricky, it's a bit of a, a gamble here. So, you only have to risk what you can afford to lose. Otherwise, it's just crazy. But I will get more comfortable with the upside if we do break this downside line. USDCHF, just a quick update. We're flirting with that 0.8860 territory. And look, I talked about this. I said that in order for me to go lower, I need to see a clearance of that one. And not only that, I need to see the body of the daily candle staying below it. Well, we did yesterday get a violation of that hurdle, but it didn't really, it just was like a little false breakout. So, no good for us. No good for us. We're observing still this one, what's going to happen here. And if we do get that clearance here of this 0.8860 territory, then yeah, I'll get a little bit more excited with further downside. And of course, keep your eyes on the data today, guys, because yeah, we do have that preliminary GDP number from the U.S. And yeah, we'll see how it's gonna affect it. But at the moment, the forecast is for a decline. So if that is the case and it comes out, let's say, lower than the forecast, then we could see, let's say, the dollar weakening. But if it comes out, let's say, slightly higher than the forecast, then but still below the previous number, then maybe a bit of positivity could kick in shortly, temporarily, into the dollar and against its major counterparts, and then yeah, we could see the US dollar strengthening, maybe just a little bit. But again, let's wait and see. Let's not try to predict what's gonna happen here. We can try to take a position once maybe the data is out. Then we can see how it's gonna go. Maybe you could scalp there a little bit, but you do whatever you're comfortable with, guys. But most importantly, have your stop loss in place and only risk what you can afford to lose. GBPUSD, very quickly on this one. I haven't looked at this for quite a while, and I think a few adjustments have to be made. First of all, this barrier, the 1.2447 or 50, I think you need to get rid of it, and I think we need to mark some of these levels right here. So I think that's something around these lines. There we go. So yeah, look, in a way, I would say we're in the range, somewhat in a range. So between the 1.2344 level right here and the 1.2547. So yeah, at the moment, I am just observing the price action, to be honest, and I'm going to take a very conservative approach here for the downside. I need to see a break of this upside line in order to go lower. For the upside, I need to see a clearance of that 1.2547 territory, because and also I would like to see the body of the daily candle staying above it, because again, I don't want to get a false breakout, and if we do get that breakout, I want the pair to stay above it. Then this will confirm a forthcoming higher high and potentially could open the door towards some higher levels, like for example this one right here, the 1.2666, marked by the high of the 27th of May of 2022. So yeah, let's see if that can get reached or not. Jumping into EURAUD, just a quick update. Look, I talked about this yesterday, if you remember. Yesterday I said to you, look, we are on a move here to the upside. I said that if we somehow decide to retrace at some point, yes, maybe retracement back to this territory could be possible, but in general the trend is to the upside, and those short sellers should be very, very careful. And exactly this is what I meant, because look, at some point maybe somebody was thinking, hey, yeah, that's a great idea, but look at this, we rallied nicely, strongly here, and yeah, it almost reached my target, the 1.6828, and that target is the highest point of October of 2020. So long story short, for now I'm still aiming for that target. Let's see if we can reach that today. It would be quite cool, I would say, quite great, and then we will go from there, guys. If it wants to get a hold up, something like this, yep, that's fine. We might see a bit of a retracement back to the downside. For lower levels, well, this is where the bit of a tricky moment comes in, because I think that the easier option is just to wait for a break of this this upside line and then do something about it. EURGBP. So once again, pushing away from that downside line, which we broke. And once again, we are flirting with that 0.8866 territory. So if we clear that again, because yesterday we cleared it, but we failed to stay above it. And if we clear it again and stay above it, yes, I'll get comfortable with further upside moves. If we don't, if once again we get some sort of a false breakout here, then, well, you know, then we could see maybe a bit of a decline back down here. But again, let's wait and see. I don't want to start considering this as a range yet, but we need to kind of keep an eye on all these scenarios. And finally, EURUSD, guys. So again, as I said to you, roller coaster ride. Again, we did yesterday rebound, push back up, recovered the Tuesday losses here, and even managed to overshoot my target, the 1.1076, but we failed to stay above it, and that means what? It's a false breakout. Can we get that breakout again? I would say let's wait and see. But this time, I would really prefer to see the pair staying above that area. If we do stay above that area, I'm targeting the upper side of the rising channel. Simple as that. For the downside, I need to see a drop somewhere below the lower side of this rising channel, and then we will take it from there. So guys, that's it for this session. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys, your views, your rockets, your comments, everything. So once again, apologies for yesterday, because again, not all comments were coming through. I don't know what's going to happen today, because I mean, I can see that there are no comments here today, but you know, hopefully everything was okay. But yeah, like I said, guys, thank you very much for joining in. Tune in tomorrow for from the last daily pitch international video webinar show, whatever you want to call it, on for this week. So yep. And yeah, we'll see what the market has prepared for us for Friday. We'll see how, you know, today's day has gone through. Well, tomorrow we'll see how it went. But today we're still, you know, it still hasn't gone. So anyway, enough of me talking here and on. Yes, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Join me tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a beautiful trading day. Stay safe. Have your stop losses in place, and risk only what you can afford to lose. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. Hey there, thank you very much for watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. So like this video, we speculate your next mouse movement will be towards the subscribe button.